I am your typical, garden-variety, high-powered CEO. But in the 7th year of my relationship with my girlfriend, my life began to shift. It started becoming like a paperback novel, riddled with misunderstandings and melodramatic soap opera tropes. I couldn't help but think back to the stack of billionaire romance novels some female classmates had forcefully recommended to me back in college. Thinking about those fictional CEOs who, due to endless misunderstandings and drama, had to spend half the book groveling for forgiveness, my heart tightened. Impossible. Absolument impossible. As long as I have a mouth and the ability to speak, there will be no groveling arc for me. Bang! While waiting at a red light, pondering my upcoming date with Elena, the car suddenly shuddered. I stepped out to inspect the damage. A young woman was sprawled on the pavement behind my car, a mangled bicycle lying next to her. Looking at the degree of deformation on that bike, I fell into deep thought. How fast did her legs have to be pedaling to smash a bike like that? Hiss! Only when the girl on the ground gasped in pain did I snap back to reality and look at her. She was quite beautiful, but as a man with a girlfriend, any attractive member of the opposite sex was strictly categorized as everyone else. Perhaps my silence lasted too long, because the girl on the ground couldn't help but speak first. "Sir, I'm so sorry. I was distracted and hit your car. I'll pay for the repairs." She paused, wincing. "But my leg seems to be injured. Could I trouble you to take me to the hospital?" After saying this, she reached out her hands toward me, signaling for me to pick her up. I calmly took half a step back and said sternly, "No, your leg might be fractured. Injured patients with potential fractures shouldn't be moved casually, or the injury could be aggravated. I'll call 911 for you." Hearing this, the girl on the ground froze for a second. Somewhat stiffly, she said, "It shouldn't be that serious. Why don't you just tell me up and we'll see?" "No." I rejected her firmly again, taking out my phone. "It's safer to call the paramedics." But just as I prepared to dial, I watched helplessly as my phone, which had 60% battery a moment ago, suddenly flashed a low battery warning and shut down. I stared at the instantly black screen in silence. Something was wrong. Something was very wrong. I had sensed it starting a few days ago. My surroundings were suddenly filled with cliché accidents, all seemingly dedicated to creating misunderstandings between my girlfriend and me. My newly hired executive assistant tripped on flat ground while delivering coffee, the cup flying straight toward my crotch. Fortunately, I dodged with agility. I was terrified at the time. That was scalding hot coffee. No sane person could withstand that. And just as the assistant was frantically apologizing, my girlfriend happened to push the door open to bring me a file I'd left at home. Then, while escorting a female CEO partner downstairs, the elevator suddenly jolted. The CEO, wearing sky-high stilettos, fell right toward my chest. Luckily, I swapped places with the vice president next to me just in time, preserving my fidelity. The very next second, the elevator doors opened, revealing my girlfriend delivering a surprise lunch. Incidents like these had occurred frequently in recent days, but fortunately, I had dodged them all. I inevitably thought of those romance novels my classmates had pushed on me, thinking of those fictional CEOs trapped in the groveling arc. Due to misunderstandings, I steel myself. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. As long as I can communicate, I will not be that guy. Noticing my silence, the girl on the ground seemed to guess the situation and said, "Sir, is your phone dead? I unluckily forgot to bring mine today, and there doesn't seem to be anyone else around. Why don't you just drive me to the hospital?" I looked around. Indeed, not a single car. This was also wrong. I took this road often. Even if traffic was light, it shouldn't be devoid of cars for this long. However, I still shook my head. No need. After experiencing the melodrama of the past few days, I had become cautious and prepared some emergency gear. I turned back to my car and pulled out 5 fully charged portable power banks I had prepped in advance. Afraid the power banks might also fail, I had even prepared a dozen car charging cables. Fortunately, the power bank worked. As soon as the phone booted up, I immediately called 911. I also sent a message to my assistant, Arthur, who had already clocked out, asking him to come in for overtime. Only then did I get out of the car and return to the girl. "Ambulance is on the way. Just wait a little longer." Oh, I didn't know if it was my imagination, but the girl on the ground seemed to be in a bad mood. I didn't probe further. Click. "What are you doing?" Hearing the sound, the girl looked up, her expression stunned. I retracted my phone, having just snapped a picture. "I have a dinner date with my girlfriend tonight, and I'm delayed. I'm reporting the situation to her." I added, "Don't worry, I'll blur your face." After sending the photo to Elena, I called her directly. Elena picked up. "I saw the photo. Did something?" I explained the current situation and asked, "Have you left the house yet?" Today was our 7th anniversary. We had agreed to go out for dinner and a date. I was supposed to pick her up after work, but an emergency at the company required overtime, so we agreed to meet at the restaurant. Not yet. I was just about to head out. Don't leave yet. I'll push the reservation back. Wait for me to come home and pick you up. To ensure this 7th anniversary passed smoothly, I felt it was safer to pick Elena up personally. What about over there? That girl seems injured. Is it inconvenient for her to go to the hospital alone? It's fine. I already called Arthur. Although I was forcing my assistant to work overtime, given the triple overtime pay, he should be quite happy. After hanging up with Elena, I looked at the girl on the ground again. She seemed to be in an even worse mood, but that was outside the scope of my concern. Before long, the ambulance and my assistant arrived almost simultaneously, dumping everything on Arthur without a shred of psychological burden. I drove home to pick up Elena. Nothing unexpected happened afterward. We happily celebrated our 7th anniversary. And on that day, I successfully proposed to Elena. The recent wave of melodramatic events, aside from giving me a sense of crisis, made me realize my relationship with Elena needed to take the next step. We had dated for 4 years in college and planned to marry upon graduation. But my family's company hit a crisis, so we had to postpone. By the time I stabilized the company, Elena was in a career ascent, incredibly busy. Now that those issues were gone, the proposal went smoothly. The next day after work, I returned to the family estate in Greenwich to discuss wedding details with my mother. Unexpectedly, I saw the girl who had rear-ended me that night. Julian is back. I walked to the sofa, sat down, and greeted my mother. My mother pointed to the girl beside her. Julian, do you remember? This is Vanessa Sterling, your Uncle Victor's daughter. She just returned from abroad. Our families lived close by when you were kids. You used to play together. Uncle Victor was my father's best friend when he was alive, but contact had faded significantly since my father passed away. However, Mrs. Sterling and my mother had maintained a good relationship. As for Vanessa, to be honest, I had absolutely no memory of her. So, following my mother's lead, I simply greeted her. Hello. One of Vanessa's ankles was wrapped in a bandage. She greeted me back. I didn't mention the traffic accident from a few days ago, but Vanessa proactively brought it up. Annie Catherine, we actually met just a few days ago. I had a small accident, and Julian was the one who took me to the hospital. My mother was surprised. Oh, is that so? I nodded and stated the facts. Yes. On a street 10 meters wide with no other vehicles, she hit my car. Then I added, also, it was my assistant who took you to the hospital. As soon as these words came out, the atmosphere became noticeably awkward. Vanessa stiffly changed the subject. Once they had finished chatting, I mentioned to my mother that I had proposed to Elena. My mother was delighted. She had always liked Elena. There was no rich family despising the poor drama here. After discussing the time to meet Elena's parents, I got up to leave. Stay for dinner, Mom said. Not today. I'll bring Elena over in a couple of days. Vanessa also stood up at this point. Annie Catherine, I should head back too. I'll come see you another day. Vanessa limped as she stood. My mother looked at me. Julian, Vanessa's leg isn't convenient. You drive her home. No need, Auntie, it's too much trouble. I can manage, Vanessa said, taking 2 steps only to nearly fall. My mother quickly supported her. Oh, stop walking. It's no trouble. Let Julian drive you. Vanessa looked as if she were embarrassed. Then I'll have to trouble you, Julian. She extended her hand toward me slightly, signaling for me to support her. I frowned almost imperceptibly and nodded. Okay, but I didn't walk over to support her. Instead, I turned and went up to the 2nd floor. When I came back downstairs, I was carrying the wheelchair my mother had used when she broke her leg 2 years ago. I unfolded the wheelchair and placed it in front of Vanessa. Get in. The corner of Vanessa's mouth twitched slightly, but ultimately, she said nothing. While driving, Vanessa sat in the back seat. I didn't speak proactively the entire way, only giving brief answers when she tried to start a conversation. When we arrived at the address Vanessa gave, I got out and placed the wheelchair by the rear door. As I pushed her toward the elevator, we saw an out-of-order sign. Vanessa looked embarrassed. Oh my, looks like the elevator is down. Luckily, my place is just on the 3rd floor. Could I trouble you to help me up the stairs, Julian? I didn't speak, just turned and pushed her toward the stairwell. At the foot of the stairs, Vanessa said, Sorry for the trouble, Julian. She prepared to get out of the wheelchair, but I stopped her. Vanessa looked at me, puzzled. I glanced at her indifferently and said, It's fine. I have plenty of strength. Then, amidst Vanessa's quiet gasp of surprise, I lifted her, wheelchair and all, and steadily marched up the stairs. I carried her all the way to the 3rd floor in one breath, without blushing or panting. Parking the wheelchair at her door, I immediately bid farewell. All right, I'm heading back. You can keep the wheelchair. Wait a second, Julian. Vanessa grabbed my sleeve. I want to see Annie Catherine today because my mom asked me to drop some things off, but I forgot one item at home. Since my leg makes it hard to make another trip, could you bring it to Annie for me? Since she put it that way, I had to agree. I stopped, then subtly pulled my sleeve out of her grasp. Once inside Vanessa's apartment, she invited me to sit. Julian, sit for a moment. I'll pour you a drink. I remained standing and refused. No need. My fiancée is waiting for me at home for dinner. Please hurry, Miss Sterling. Vanessa didn't say anything, just turned and went to her room. But a moment later, she came walking toward me, limping, holding glass. I just got back from abroad not long ago, so the place is a bit messy. Julian, have a drink and rest while I look for it. Watching Vanessa walk so unsteadily, I instinctively felt something was wrong. Sure enough, the next moment she stumbled, and the drink in her hand flew straight at me. I immediately dodged to the side, but the liquid seemed to predict my evasion path, splashing precisely all over me. My shirt and trousers were not spared. They were stained with a large, dark splotch. I'm sorry. Vanessa apologized frantically, looking like she wanted to reach out and wipe it off, but I dodged her. I'm so sorry, Julian. Why don't you use my bathroom to take a shower? I happen to have some clothes my cousin asked me to bring back from Europe. You can change into them. I looked at the mess on my clothes, but firmly refused. Unnecessary. I'll wash when I get home. Go find the item. Leaving aside the fact that I would never take a shower in a strange woman's house, I had a premonition. If I actually agreed, the moment I stepped into the bathroom, Elena would call. Vanessa tried to persuade me to shower again, but I rejected her every time. Finally, under my urging, she found the item for my mother. I took it and left immediately. When I returned home covered in stains, Elena was surprised. I explained what happened, and she didn't overthink it. Go take a shower then. I was just about to cook. After showering, Elena and I had a simple but warm dinner. While washing dishes afterward, I discussed wedding details with her. Just as we were getting ready for bed, my phone suddenly rang. A strange number. I hung up immediately. Not answering suspicious numbers is a good habit, effective for preventing scams. But soon, I received a new friend request on my messaging app. Julian, it's Vanessa. I have something to tell you. I hesitated, then accepted. Once connected, Vanessa called via voice chat immediately. Julian, why didn't you pick up my call just now? I didn't explain, just asked, what is it? It's like this. I found a flash drive at my place. Did you drop it? A flash drive? Hearing this, I got up to check my bag. The drive I brought back from the company was indeed missing. But I had barely moved at Vanessa's place, and the drive was securely in my pocket. How could I have dropped it without feeling a thing? Although it didn't make sense, the drive contained important data I needed for the next couple of days. So I said, please hold on to it for me. I'll send someone to pick it up tomorrow. On the other end, Vanessa said, but I'm planning to go out of town for a few days tomorrow, catching an early flight. Why don't you come get it now, Julian? Or wait until I get back in a few days. She's traveling with an injured leg? I was confused, but since she said so, I could only say, I'll come get it in a bit. After hanging up, I had a feeling that going to Vanessa's house again would result in more soap opera accidents. A man's intuition is sometimes very accurate. I didn't want to go, but I really needed that drive. Time to let my assistant Arthur experience the joy of triple overtime pay again. Regrettably, Arthur's future in-laws were visiting from out of town to see their daughter, and he was entertaining them. He had to tearfully refuse my triple pay. As someone with future in-laws myself, I understood. With Arthur unavailable, I thought for a moment and didn't call anyone else. Arriving at Vanessa's apartment, I rang the doorbell. Soon, the door opened from the inside, revealing Vanessa wearing only a loose bathrobe. I instantly averted my gaze. Julian, Vanessa's intended words got stuck in her throat when she saw Elena. She awkwardly pulled her robe tighter and asked, who is this? My fiancée, Elena. Please hand over the drive, Miss Sterling. We won't come in. We have matters to attend to shortly. I explained, still not looking at Vanessa. Elena's presence clearly disrupted Vanessa's plans, making her flustered. She couldn't say much else, so she went back into the room and brought out the drive. After retrieving the drive, I canceled the night drive I had planned with Elena and drove straight home. I had work tomorrow. The night tour could wait for next time. Back home, Elena asked me, what exactly is going on? I didn't hide anything and told her everything that happened over the last 2 days. Elena nodded after listening. I was wondering why you suddenly wanted to go for a night drive instead of sleeping. Then she teased, my fiancée is so charming that a beauty like that is throwing herself at you. I frowned and said, it doesn't feel like that. There was definitely something wrong with Vanessa. The previous melodramatic events might have been accidents, but tonight was clearly orchestrated. Showering right when she knew a man was coming to pick something up, and opening the door and revealing clothes. She either had issues or an ulterior motive. Although her actions looked like seduction, I didn't sense any affection from her. I couldn't confirm her objective. Knowing Vanessa was problematic, I hired someone to investigate her. But before the results came back, Vanessa came to me. I received her in the company's guest lounge. Her opening words shocked me. "Julian, let's get engaged." Impossible. I refused without a second thought. But Vanessa seemed to have anticipated this and remained unhurried. "Julian, don't you want to know who killed your father?" My expression changed instantly. Just as I was about to graduate college, my father died in a car accident. He collided with a truck that turned suddenly. Both vehicles were destroyed, and he died on the spot. The verdict at the time was that the truck driver was fatigued and misread the traffic light. I always thought it was an accident, but Vanessa implied otherwise. I frowned. "What do you mean?" Vanessa explained. "I mean, Uncle Richard's accident wasn't an accident. That truck driver was paid off." I wasn't sure if Vanessa was telling the truth, so I didn't respond immediately. But then she produced evidence. A few days after the driver went to prison, a deposit of $1 million appeared in his account. And recently, right after the driver was released, another million appeared. Seeing the evidence, I believed she was likely telling the truth. It couldn't be a coincidence. Since she came to me, she must know more. "Do you know who did it?" Vanessa nodded and said a name. "Victor Sterling, the current CEO of Sterling Group, my father's best friend and Vanessa's father. Although my father and Victor had a good relationship, there was competition between our companies. When my family's company, Thorn Enterprises, was destabilized by my father's death, Sterling Group seized the opportunity to harvest significant profits. Sterling used a lag behind Thorn Enterprises. Now, they were slightly ahead. If Victor Sterling really did it, it wasn't outside the realm of possibility. But what I couldn't figure out was why Vanessa, as Victor's only daughter, would tell me this. In response to my question, Vanessa explained, "Few people know this, but I'm actually a posthumous child. The current Mrs. Sterling isn't my biological mother. My real mother was killed by Victor and that woman together. If that woman hadn't been infertile, I wouldn't be alive today." I wasn't clear on Vanessa's relationship with her family, but given she had stayed abroad for so long, it probably wasn't great. If what she said was true, seeking revenge for her mother was logical. I tentatively believed her. "So you came to me because you want to collaborate to take down Victor Sterling?" "Yes." Vanessa nodded and laid out her plan. She had found out that Victor still had evidence of the hit job hidden in the company's encrypted archives. Although she was the sole heir to Sterling Group, Victor hadn't let her into the upper management yet. So, she wanted me to fake an engagement with her, then use the Thorn name to negotiate a partnership with Sterling Group. Based on our relationship, she could call a shareholders meeting. Using the argument of securing greater benefits for Sterling Group, she would convince the shareholders to let her handle the partnership. That way, Victor couldn't stop her from entering senior management. Then she would find an opportunity to retrieve the evidence. Vanessa's plan was mostly sound, but the fake engagement gave me pause. Seeming to understand my hesitation, Vanessa added, "Don't worry, no engagement party. Just a verbal agreement." I still didn't agree immediately. "I'll go home and discuss it with Elena before giving you an answer. Elena is my fiancée." I obviously needed her opinion on faking an engagement with another woman. But hearing this, Vanessa got anxious. "No, you can't tell her." Seeing her react so strongly, I couldn't help but get suspicious. My gaze turned cold as I stared at her. "Why?" Vanessa explained, flustered. "If you tell her, what if she accidentally leaks it? Besides, she's not part of our circle anyway. It's better to keep it from her so the news doesn't reach her ears. Why not just tell her, after everything all?" "No." If I followed Vanessa's method, I'd be signing up for the exposure, misunderstanding, and groveling R combo meal to listen to her. When Vanessa first showed up, I thought her seductive moves were just her against Victor. But now that she was so desperate to keep the fake engagement from Elena, I began to doubt her true motives again. Seeing Vanessa about to argue, I cut her off. "Forget it. I won't discuss it with Elena." Vanessa's face lit up, thinking I agreed. But before she could speak, I continued, "I don't agree to this plan." "Why?" Vanessa looked incredulous. "Just because you have to fake an engagement with me?" I nodded. "Yes." She couldn't help but challenge me. "Don't you want to avenge your father?" "Of course I do." I spoke calmly. "If Victor Sterling really did it, I will find a way to make him pay. But regardless, I won't agree to your plan. Anyway, thank you for telling me this today. I'll find another way to get the evidence. If I can truly bring Victor to justice, I'll help you take over Sterling Group as a thank you. Once I made my stance clear, no matter how Vanessa tried to persuade me, I refused to budge. She could only leave in anger. Back home, although I hadn't agreed to Vanessa's plan, I still told Elena what happened. Elena listened and actually advised me. Actually, if Miss Sterling's plan is viable, I don't have a problem with it. I shook my head. That's not it. Although I told Vanessa I refused because of the fake engagement, there were other reasons. Vanessa's plan sounded fine at first, but it fell apart under scrutiny. I didn't believe Vanessa could just walk out with evidence that an old fox like Victor had hidden for years just by becoming an executive. And a sudden engagement would be suspicious. Getting that evidence wouldn't be that simple. Hearing my explanation, Elena looked worried. We can't just let the man who killed your dad get away with it, can we? It's okay. I patted Elena's head to comfort her. If Victor really did it, there must be other clues besides the evidence in his hands. I've already arranged for people to investigate the truck driver. There should be some results. Victor Sterling was indeed a veteran of the business world. His work was watertight. We traced the account that paid the driver up several layers and found many people, but none had any connection to Victor. Until later, I decided to try a different angle. I had someone investigate Mrs. Sterling's accounts over the years. We actually found something. Just as things were finally progressing, before I could follow up, I suddenly received a message from Vanessa. Come save me, quick. I got the evidence of Victor's hit job. My heart skipped a beat. I immediately drove to Vanessa's apartment. When I arrived, I found her door wide open. I felt a sense of dread. But when I went inside, I saw Vanessa sitting leisurely on the sofa, looking nothing like someone in danger. You lied to me. Realizing things weren't as I imagined, I didn't even bother asking why she lied. I turned to leave, but the door behind me had closed at some point, and it wouldn't open. Vanessa's voice drifted over. It's useless. I paid a high price to customize this barrier for you. Hearing this, I couldn't help but frown. Barrier? What do you mean? Nothing much. Vanessa wagged her index finger at me. You just need to know that today, as long as I don't let you out, you can't get out. I couldn't be bothered to waste words with her. I pulled out my phone to call the police. Unfortunately, there was zero signal. Stop struggling. Vanessa rose from the sofa and came over to me. Let me show you something cool. She waved her hand, and a transparent screen appeared in the air, displaying a live feed of Elena at home. Seeing this, I stared at Vanessa. You're not human. You're the one who's not human. Vanessa rolled her eyes. I'm human, obviously, but I'm not from this world. Vanessa claimed that our world is a sub-world derived from a novel. Elena and I are the protagonist couple. She is from a special department in a higher dimension, tasked with absorbing energy that dissipates from these subworlds. Don't worry, absorbing dissipated energy isn't stealing it. It won't damage your world. However, to absorb more energy, we need to stimulate the subworld's core to create larger fluctuations. And to create those fluctuations, we rely on you protagonists. The more intense your emotions, the greater the core fluctuates. Hearing this, sense of foreboding. What do you want to do? Vanessa smirked. Actually, our department has and I happen to be in the angst group. Don't worry, even though it's angst, we guarantee a happy ending. Just a little groveling arc, that's all. Saying this, Vanessa took out her phone and showed me some photos. They were intimate, me and her. These are fake, I said, certain I never had such contact with her. So what? Sometimes, truth doesn't matter as much as you think. Vanessa anonymously sent the photos to Elena and told her I was about to get engaged to someone else. After doing this, Vanessa pointed to the floating screen. Wait for the show. Go. I watched the screen as Elena received the message, a look of shock appearing on her face. Vanessa stood beside me. Relax. Once she leaves, I'll let you out. Besides, I used up my energy quota for this mission just to make this barrier. So I won't do anything else to you guys. You just need to suffer through a little groveling, and you can live happily ever after. I turned to look at Vanessa. It won't happen. Elena won't leave. Vanessa clearly didn't believe me. How is that possible? You're messing around with another woman. Won't she be angry? I said firmly, because Elena knows I wouldn't mess around with another woman. She trusts me, so upon receiving photos like that, her first move will definitely be to ask me for verification, not to leave without a word. As I finished speaking, on the screen, Elena began calling my phone. Seeing things not developing as she imagined, Vanessa furrowed her brows. But soon she regained her confidence. But too bad. She can't reach you, and she won't get your explanation. She'll have to leave now, right? No. I shook my head. She'll just be more worried about me. She'll call the police. Sure enough, on the screen, after failing to reach me or anyone around me, Elena began considering calling the police. This scene seemed inconceivable to Vanessa. Why? I don't understand. Something like this happens, and you suddenly go missing. Isn't that a sign of a guilty conscience? I sighed helplessly. I don't understand either. Isn't this the normal reaction between two people who love each other? Why is your wiring so strange? I said that, but I knew why. It was because there were no unresolved misunderstandings between Elena and me. If the previous melodramatic accidents had actually caused Elena to misunderstand, and I hadn't explained them in time, then perhaps things might have spiraled the way Vanessa predicted. Seeing Elena preparing to call 911, I advised Vanessa, "You can trap me here with a barrier, but I doubt you can stop the police from finding this place." I had passed plenty of surveillance cameras on the way. It wouldn't be hard for the police to find me. I trusted Vanessa didn't want to expose her true identity to law enforcement. "Since you told me the truth about my father's accident, if you stop now, I won't hold this against you. Of course, that's assuming you truly won't disturb my life with Elena again, as you said." Vanessa let out a scornful snort, but she deactivated the barrier. However, she didn't feel she had completely failed. "Even if you go back, I don't believe you can explain everything clearly. Those photos are fake, but with this world's technology, you can't prove they've been doctored." I thought about this problem for a moment. "Then I'll just tell her the facts." Vanessa was surprised. "You mean tell her I'm a tasker from another world? How could she possibly believe that?" I countered, "Why wouldn't she? When the trust between us is high enough, nothing is unbelievable." I dialed Elena's number right in front of Vanessa. The call connected immediately, Elena's worried voice coming through. "Where did you go? I haven't been able to reach you." Elena didn't ask about the photos. She asked about my safety first. "I'm at Vanessa's, just as I said I would." I told Elena everything that had just happened. "That's the situation. It's fine now." Elena sighed in relief after listening. "So that's what it was. Come back soon, then. I was so worried just now, I almost called the police." "Okay, I'm coming home immediately." After hanging up, a look of pure disbelief floated onto Vanessa's face. It was that simple. I nodded. It was that simple. With the facts laid bare, Vanessa's attempt to sow discord had thoroughly failed. She found it hard to accept. Vanessa told me I was the 100th mission she had executed. Her previous 99 missions had gone smoothly. This was the first time she had faced such a setback. So, she couldn't help but ask me, "How on earth did you do it?" I thought about it seriously. Doesn't it just require having a mouth? With that, I opened the door and left, leaving a life-questioning Vanessa behind. Vanessa kept her word. She didn't disturb my life again. Elena and I, witnessed by our parents and friends, successfully held a warm, sweet wedding. At the wedding, I made a sincere vow. Julian Thorne will love Elena Ross forever.